Good afternoon, everybody. This is Jackie Musime Kyoguru, aka JMK, and welcome to Real Talk. Today, the topic I'm going to discuss is quite sensitive, and but once the Lord puts a particular topic on my mind, my role is to obey and trust in Him to help me relay that information in a proper and in a Christian way. The topic I'm going to talk about today is divorce. And one thing I need to start by saying is, in the Bible, the Lord hates divorce. So I need all of us to understand where I'm coming from and not think that I'm thinking of divorce as something that is okay. No, it's not. It's not okay. We need to remember that this is a covenant. When people get married, it's a covenant made between two people and they become one. So we need to realize that the reason why the Lord hates divorce is because these people that become one are supposed to stay together till death do them part. Okay? Another thing that I would like to inform our viewers is that going through divorce is one of the most painful experiences one can ever have. Painful. It's like losing somebody and going through the 5 stages of grief. The 5 stages of grief being denial, anger, bargaining, hoping that maybe this is not going to happen, going through depression, and finally acceptance. Just imagine the feeling. You know, I always tell people, the fact that you've become one, just imagine that feeling of when you've been burnt, if anybody has ever been burnt, and then you have to remove that top skin to get to the flesh. That pain is the kind of pain you go through when you're going through divorce. So it is not something that I even would hope for anybody to go through. I've gone through divorce twice, and trust me, it's not something that is good. It's very painful. It takes a toll on yourself. And you know, there's a time I asked my sister Juliet, I was like, Juliet, what? Just explain to me. When you're going through the whole process of filing for divorce, you're okay, you're fine. You know this is the end. For most women, by the time you actually file for divorce, your emotional mind or your love for that person left so many months ago, but now this is the actual physical living. But my question was always to her, why is it when you're signing the divorce papers, there's this feeling that you get that is crazy? And because she has gone through actual counseling, like she's an actual counselor, she explained to me that, Jackie, divorce is like you've lost someone like death, you know? So it's not something that that I would wish for anybody. But I want us to go through the 10 reasons why people end up in divorce, so that all of us who get married try our level best to see that we work on our marriages. And one thing that I also want to tell our viewers is that anybody who goes through divorce shouldn't be judged, because when you marry, you don't marry thinking of divorce, especially when you marry when you're truly in love with somebody. You marry because you expect to spend a lifetime with this person. You marry because you love this person. And personally, I'm one person who loves, like, my whole being is in that relationship. So by the time something ends up in divorce, you know that there's so many different factors that have come into play. So I want to go through these different factors so that we can all understand why people end up in divorce. There's infidelity. This is one of the most, actually I think the #1 reason why most people end up in divorce, where one person starts going out with somebody in a friendly manner and then it ends up physical. And of course, if the other partner gets to know, whether it's the wife or the husband, it's very painful. And gaining that trust again is something that you just cannot, personally I cannot envisage even forgiving that person, I normally tell people that I'm a very jealous person. So the thought of even a man being with somebody else, I can't handle it, okay? Because once you've decided to give your whole self to that person, now this person is going out to somebody else, then no. So infidelity is the number one reason. The second reason why people end up in divorce is money. Money makes people funny, as the saying goes. So everything from different spending habits to one spouse making considerably more than the other, bringing about self-esteem issues, bringing about somebody feeling like there's a power struggle, or somebody feeling like they're doing more than the other in the marriage. Because these days we both work. I mean, both husband and wife, most of us work. So you don't understand why somebody is putting in more than the other. But also traditionally, we feel like the man should be the one to take care of the stuff, and the woman comes in to support in cases where maybe the husband fails here and there. Lack of communication. Communication is a very, very crucial part of any kind of relationship. Whether it's with your children, whether it's with your friends, whether it's with whoever, but in marriages, communication is very, very vital. One thing that with lack of communication ends up issues of suspicion, resentment, anger, frustration, because somebody's doing something, they're not letting you know. Men have this habit of entering their little boxes and keeping quiet, especially when they're going through issues. And as a woman, you're always open and you want to talk about the issues. So you end up wondering what is going on. This guy is not talking to me, I don't know what's happening, he's quiet. And with time, you start thinking about all kinds of things and you're wondering, okay, what's going on? And because of that, it's very unhealthy and ends up in either separation or divorce. And then there's a constant arguing, from bickering about food, to bickering about the children, to the time somebody has come home at night, to the chores, to whatever. Arguing, constant arguing normally kills relationships. And couples who seem to have the same argument all the time on the same issue feel like they're not appreciated and feel like they're not being heard, you know? So somehow this ends up in separation. Now there's also the issue of weight gain. This may seem awfully superficial or unfair, but weight gain is one of the most common causes of divorce. A significant amount of weight gain causes the other spouse to become less attracted to the other person, especially for a man, if he has met you when you are slim, slender, looking nice. Unfortunately for the ladies, after you've given birth, you tend to put on a bit of weight. But one thing I always tell ladies is that do not lose yourself because of children. Men tend to, the very first attraction that he had of you is what he wants to continue seeing. So we tend to forget about ourselves when we get children. We're like, okay, I'm married, I have children. When the man comes home, I'm in a lesu, put on weight, but we're forgetting that the man tends to lose the attraction of you and ends up in the very first point that I talked about, infidelity. And then because of that, also you as a woman, you tend to lose your self-esteem, confidence in yourself, and so you become less confident in who you are. And unfortunately, this culminates into so many issues of intimacy. And of course, without intimacy with a man, sometimes they end up going out of the marriage. Then unrealistic experiences. These experiences or expectations bring a lot of strain to the marriage. You enter a relationship with somebody and you have this unrealistic expectation of your spouse, leaving you feeling low and down and setting your spouse up for failure. Then of course there's the lack of intimacy. Not being connected to your partner can quickly ruin a marriage because it leaves couples feeling as though they are living as roommates. If you've gone for different counseling sessions, you realize that for men, the number one thing that they love is sex. For a woman, the number one thing is intimacy, care, love. So if you do not give to your husband your body, then he ends up looking elsewhere for this. And because of this, he comes back home, you're always tired, you always have jokes with the girlfriends where you say you have a headache and things like that. But with time, this ends up making one another, it's not even only the man, even the woman. Sometimes women, we may want to have sex or make love to our husbands, but he's always busy, he's never at home. So you end up feeling like you're either a roommate or this person is just coming home and is just like a friend. And sometimes this leads to emotional detachment from your partner and eventually leads to separation. There's lack of equality. When one partner feels that they take more of the responsibility in the marriage, it can alter their view on the other person. Resentment comes out of this, and you feel like you're being treated less than a person than you feel like you should be treated. Then there's the big issue of some people just not being prepared for marriage. You know, there's this whole fantasy of, oh, I want to get married. But some people get married and they're not ready for marriage. And for the guys, you find somebody still hanging out with the boys every night, and he's coming back late at night, and he's just not taking full responsibility for the home. He's now not changing from being a boy to a man because he was not mentally ready for marriage. For the ladies, you find that there's this girl who is always going back to her parents' house because she has not actually detached herself from her parents. I'll just paraphrase the Bible where it says you leave your mother and your father and you join and become one with your partner, with your husband. So sometimes you need to realize that when you get married, you need to have the mentality that now I'm running a home, I'm with my wife. If